Hey everyone, so today I'm going to review Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. So I was in a little bit of a reading slump because, what did I finish before this? Okay, so I finished The Pledge by Kimberly Durting and I loved it. Then I went to Barnes & Noble and I found The Essence, so I started it, but I couldn't get into it because I was on a little bit of a high fantasy kick. Just whatever, so I decided to set that down. And I'm having, like, what did I read before that? Because I remember I got Rumblefish by S.E. Hinton, and I decided that I wanted to read this before I read anything else, just to kind of get me out of a slumpish feeling, or just my high fantasy kick was seriously like, oh my gosh, I need high fantasy. And I don't know why I didn't feel like reading Crown of Midnight, and I mean, Fire by Kristen Cashore is stupid, kind of. So, I went to Barnes & Noble and I found this, and I'd heard Regan from Peruse Project talking about it, and I also think Jesse from Jesse the Reader. I can't really remember, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I loved this. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Basically, it follows 4 different POVs, which is so cool. That's always a thing with me. I love it when something has more than one point of view, because I'll be reading a chapter and I'll be like, oh, this is my favorite POV. I don't want this to end. Then I get to a new chapter and I'm like, no, this is my favorite. I don't want this one to end. And then, so basically, I can never decide which is my favorite, so I just love the whole thing, which was amazing. So one of them is, like, how cool this is. It's like Princess, Rebel, Sorceress, Heir. So the princess, her name is Princess Cleo. Character flaws: she's slightly stubborn and she's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. You know, I mean, she's a princess, but she really doesn't use it really for her own benefit. It's more for helping others. And then Rebel, Jonas, there's spoilers in this video. So basically the storyline is Princess Cleo and this other dude, one of her guards, I think it is. I'm saying Aaron, A-R-O-N, Aaron sounds stupid, so I'm going with Aaron. They are walking into the village with some other people. What is her name? Oh my gosh, what's her name? I can't remember. Mira? Is it Mira? I'm going with that. So they're going into this little village, and I think, okay, my mind is not with me. They are going into, which kingdom is it? I think it's Lamiros? Yeah. And the princess is from Aranos, and Aranos and Lamiros are at war. They don't like well, they're not at war, they just don't like each other at all. They're on the brink of war. So they go, and Aaron drinks, or Aaron, or I just totally contradicted myself. Aaron goes to taste this legendary wine, and he drinks it, and the wine seller's 2 sons come out, and Aaron is trying to get a cheap bargain to buy some of the wine. And one of the sons, Jonas, the rebel, he's all like, you can't take advantage of my father like that. And so they get into it, and Aaron ends up killing Thomas. And Jonas Thomas wasn't the rebel. Thomas was the brother. Jonas is the rebel. And he's like, I will avenge my brother's death. And he hates Aaron for killing him, and he hates Cleo for standing there and not doing anything, because also someone who was with him was Theon, which was another guard. And Cleo said, no, don't do anything, don't try to stop Aaron, just let him do whatever he wants, kind of thing. So Jonas is like, you just stood there when you could have stopped it. So he doesn't like her, so he's out to get her. And another POV is Magnus Vane. No, not Magnus Vane. And he is a prince from, let's see if I can get this one right. From, I think he's from Loberos. I was not paying attention to the kingdoms. So he's like the firstborn son, so he'll be king. And he has a sister named Lucia. I was going with Lucia, it might be Lucia, but that would be seriously weird. And she finds out that she's a sorceress. He also has not so brotherly feelings for Lucia. And he doesn't want to believe the feelings that he has, but he does, and nobody else knows, and I'm definitely not for that at all. But in the book, I was glad whenever the sister found out and everybody else found out, they were appropriately disgusted, like, because, like, Magnus kissed her and she was like, what? Get away from me. It was hilarious, actually. But, so so basically, the word spreads that Aaron has killed this guy, Thomas. And Jonas, the brother, is furious and he's out to get Cleo. And then Magnus is all, trying to impress his father, like, for the king to be king. And it's so good. And Cleo's sister, Amelia, has fallen ill. And she's so close with Amelia. And Amelia is telling her stories about, because, magic is like, is it like forbidden or just, magic has been forgotten, like long forgotten. But she tells her stories of magic and witches and exiled watchers, the Watchers. And so she tells her a story about this one that has these magical grape seeds that can heal anybody, even if they're like an inch from death. And, Cleo's like, wait, I can get you the seeds and you can live. And she's like, no, don't do that. She's like, I know I'm sick and I know I'm going to die and I'm going to go peacefully. And of course, Cleo being stubborn, she's all like, no, I'm going to go get the seeds. And her dad doesn't want her to because that would mean going back to the place where Aaron killed Thomas, and she shouldn't be seen there because of all the problems and because of what Jonas feels. So they go, and so basically she ends up going. She sneaks out against her will, and the guard Theon was put to watch her, but she sneaks out and goes anyway. And her best friend, God, what's his name? I am an idiot. Nick. So he goes with her just for some protection, even though, it's not really protection because he's like a gangly, lanky dude, but he just goes with her so she won't be alone. And so they both try and get these grape seeds, and they meet this lady who takes them in and feeds them and all that. Later we find out that was the exiled Watcher, which is so cool to me because they were telling her all these things. Like, we need this, and my sister's fallen ill, and she's like, oh, okay. She doesn't say, hey, I'm the person you're looking for. It was, whatever. But I totally didn't expect it. The final battle at the end was so cool, so sad. I was heartbroken when Theon died because I was loving him, and him and Cleo had just gotten together, and it just infuriated me. Seriously, it infuriated. I'm messing with the book if you can't tell. But it was so fantastic, and I finished it, and I'm like, still need high fantasy. And I didn't have the sequel with me, and I'm gonna get it as soon as I can. Rebel Spring, I want it so bad. And I thought this was supposed to be like a trilogy or something. It turns out it's gonna be like a long series, like 5 or 6 books, which is excellent. Totally for that. I think the third one is called Dark Gathering or something Gathering. I think it's Dark Gathering. This cover is really beautiful. The color scheme. I like the second cover better, I think, because honestly, like in person, you might be able to tell better on here, but it's actually pretty difficult to read the words because of the little swirl thing going on there, and it's silver, and if you're looking at it straight, it's not shiny and it blends in. It's just difficult. But the other one is really pretty. It has like a dude in a red cape holding a wand. But so at the end, Aranos and Limeros, they're getting in, their battle, and they're fighting and everything, but it was excellent. If you are in the mood for a high fantasy, this and that, just like romance, action, mystery, fun, just, it's not fun, you know what I mean. Also, there's these really pretty things at the beginning of everything. It has like those little symbols. An Aranos one is really pretty. And I highly suggest it just for anyone who's into high fantasy or in a slump, because it will pull you right out. Isn't that pretty? It's like an A, but it's really a bird. What? I was so confused. I was like, what is that supposed to be? I'm like, it looks like a bird, but I know it's supposed to be something else, and it was like an A. And I'm like, ah. I was also so mad. Look. Beautiful cover, so boring without it. It's just black. Just black. And then just words, which infuriated me. Anyway, so whenever I first got it, this is cool on the inside, but when I first got it, I was flipping through, and they had these things, like the cast of characters, kind of like who's related to who, and I'm like, oh crap, that means it's gonna be confusing. So, but it wasn't at all, and I didn't even need to look at that. That was just to help, but most things that have like a family tree, but most things that have like a family tree or something are pretty difficult to keep up with, because that means there's like a billion different people. It's topped up. I meant to say a million, but I said a billion. And also Lucia, it turns out she's a sorceress, and Magnus is all like, no, my sister cannot be a sorceress. I love her, blah, blah, blah. But it was so she was really, really cool. I loved all the characters. I loved who I was supposed to love, hated who I was supposed to hate, meaning love to hate, basically. I really liked Magnus. It was creepy how he liked his sister and such. But, I mean, I ignored that pretty much just because, I mean, I don't believe in stuff like that. So I just let it. I just didn't think on it. But so good. Please, 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 please read this. If you get a chance, just go to the library, go to a bookstore, borrow it from someone. 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Absolutely. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Margaret. I like high fantasy, and that was my review of Fallen Kingdoms. Bye!